So we're going to talk about the Drake equation or romance of factors first. Uh, I remember I thought that we had actually spoken about this play, but your titles and just the way that you frame things sometimes, I get confused which ones that I've read and spoken about. But
Yeah,
I do remember.
I made a video that was about the Drake equation, and that might have confused you. It was like a 7-minute video where I mentioned what I was gonna write about it, but we didn't actually talk about the finished product.
No, we didn't. So I remember when I read this, I thought it was a great play, and I did look through it prior to this conversation. Um, I remember you talking about the Drake equation. We'll get to more of that and several other factors like the Goldilocks uh, medium. I wanted to talk to you. I thought this was a very effective title too. It's the Drake equation. It's less consciously poetic than most of your play titles, but it's referring to Karissa Drake as well as the Drake equation.
Yeah.
Speak a little bit about Karissa Drake. This is a very funny play too, with the Greek chorus and then the gay characters that accompany her on a date with Danny Wagner.
Well, the Drake equation, just before we talk about Karissa Drake, is the whoops, and I just bring it up there. Whoops, I move that down. Ah, there we go. Is about Frank Drake, the astronomer, had his famous idea that you could somehow plot out or think out how many alien civilizations there might be in a galaxy or even the cosmos if you follow a fact of 7 or 8, you know, or an equation following 7 or 8 factors, you know, from the number of stars down to some civilization things. And this was about 50, 60 years ago, I think, 1959. And it only really became popular in the mass media about 20 years later when Carl Sagan did his Cosmos PBS show. And it's been updated with certain new factors that we know since we discovered planets. So I thought it was a good title since I was going to call my major character Karissa Drake. And this is based upon a young woman that I met when I was looking for my biological family. I'm adopted back in around the 1990-91. I had joined this group called ALMA, A-L-M-A, Adoptees Liberty Movement Association, which was founded by this woman who, I don't know if she's still alive, but I think she died. But she wasn't all there. I forget her name off the top of my head. But she founded this organization. She sued some states to open up adoption records. And the movement itself, I mean, there are still states where adoption records are sealed, but overall, it was probably successful in getting people reunited with their adopted kids that they gave away, and the kids finding their natural parents. Anyway, this girl, Karissa Drake, who's a year or two older than me, was this gorgeous blonde girl who was sort of the epitome of that 1990s aesthetic where you had girls with guitars who were folk singers. This, you know, a few years later, Jewel, Alanis Morissette, who was the one of the Tuesday Night Movie Club gal. I know she's 3 years older than me to the day. But anyway, there are a lot of these singer-songwriter types, and I met her at this Adoptee Liberty Movement Association group for about 6 or 7 months. I think it met once a month. For 6 or 7 months, I met her